taking its time. That's okay. So I hope everyone brought a poem or two or a song or something that they'd like to share with the group, because that's what we're doing tonight is we're doing a poetry slam. Not really, but it's a cute idea. Anyway, so welcome everybody, and let's start with a poem, a prayer poem from Helen. Let me get up today's lesson. Don't you just love these lessons that we're in now? It's just so cool because each one of them has a prayer that goes with it. And what are we on, 227 today? Is that where we're at?
Yes.
227. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay. Oh, this is a good one too. So we'll start with this prayer from lesson 227. This is my holy instant of release. Father, it is today that I am free because my will is yours. I thought to make another will, yet nothing that I thought apart from you exists. And I am free because I was mistaken and did not affect my own reality at all by my illusions. Now I give them up and lay them down before the feet of truth to be removed forever from my mind. This is my holy instant of release. Father, I know my will is one with yours. Amen.
Amen.
So the rest of the lesson says, and so today we find our glad return to heaven, which we never really left. The Son of God this day lays down his dreams. The Son of God this day comes home again, released from sin and clad in holiness, with his right mind restored to him at last. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful lesson. Amen. All right. So good evening, everybody. And I'm going to turn, I'm still hearing sound. Okay. So this evening we are bringing our poems, and if there's a song that you'd like, and if there's like a song that has a YouTube video, I could look it up and play it for us if you want to hear it. But who would like to start? Who's got something? Rafi, are you waving, or you want to start?
I don't mind. I was just waving hi to Rico.
I thought you were waving hi to Rico, but I thought I'd take the opportunity to.
This is called What the Fast Steps That Barely Brush the Sand, a heart that beats subtly, small waves, not at a hush, a breeze that blows but stirs not a leaf. Where am I? What is this? A dell where unicorns romp and play under fluffy clouds that never move. Awake, asleep, eyes opened or closed. Energy in my chest when a loud passes through an imagined gap. Am I the gap? Rather the energy passing around and through, touching none, and all the while nothing is felt by it? Them, me. What have I become? Did I morph as one remembering what I was and still am? Children laugh and skip, lovers clasp hands and stroll, government's posture and war, witnessing it all. Smile, care, compassion, and love some more. Am I? I am. When? Now. Empathize, understand. Harmony, sensed or tasted, stand back, aware of the degrees, and from love's perception, offer peace. It's all only my picture. I am the universe.
Wow. Thank you so much, Rafi. That's good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you write that?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It really is lovely, and it's such great imagery, and really asking a lot of questions that are like really relevant. And what brought you to write a poem like that?
I have no idea. When I start to write, I just get out of the way and stuff comes out. I've written musical comedies, I've written screenplays, I've written poetry, I've written television pilots and stuff like that. And I have no idea. I just start writing, get out of the way, and the divine power of being the creative force just does it. And I stand back, and at the end, when it's over, I read it. And then if I see grammatical errors or something like that, I start to correct it. Or I see something that needs, punctuation or something. But mostly I just get out of the way.
Great visual, Rafi. Great visual. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, really beautiful. So anybody have any else have a poem that you'd like to share? I can't imagine Brooklyn might have one, but
This is from 2017.
we don't have that much time. So you have to be.
But I'll read the first one. In it, yeah, okay. Choose again. Distracted by flesh all these years, so grateful for a second chance. The body, a child to take care of for now, needed for this experience inside of time. A chess game maybe as we move our pawns, but the king needs no protection. We are all queens. Peaks of reality viewed as imagination, ego and courage will fight back. A headache is better than no head at all. We fragment ourselves even more. Beyond what seems is a giant light, accept the past, less the unknown future. In the now, a glimpse can be caught.
Wow. That is a wow.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Brooklyn, that sounds like 2025.
It's 2017. I
It's
wrote
so
a lot
funny.
this year.
I was hearing you today, and you were talking about being self-conscious about your expression and your teaching, and the thoughts that you were having about being not good enough or whatever. And it's just so interesting to me because you of all people have such a gift of words and such a way of expressing that it just it's you underestimate yourself, and so I'm grateful that you're able to share and willing to share, and I'm really happy that you're sharing on Gather every week now too. That's makes me so happy.
It's wonderful to be with my mighty companions
It is so cool.
in love.
Brooklyn, I think I'm gonna change your radio station from ego voice reception to spirit voice reception, and then you're gonna have a real clear channel.
I love it. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts about Brooklyn's poem before we go on, and let's hear what Dove has to say? All right, Dove, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to mention that this was written 10 years ago when somebody, and I don't know who it was, asked me to write a bio. It could have been Regina. I don't know. It was about 10, 12 years ago. And I really don't like writing bios. I mean, writing a bio is like so boring. So the way I looked at it, I wrote the story of my life. And if you go to my website, which is One Mind Foundation, if you look up on the banner, it says Dove's Story. That's the name of this thing, Dove's Story. Of course, it has a postscript, which we'll get into. I just want to mention one thing about One Mind Foundation. If anything happens to me, John Mundy will take it over. He already owns half of the thing, and Lynn, you're all part of it. So nothing's ever going to happen to anybody. Truly, these things don't happen. Okay, so here's the first part because the chat, I'm putting it in the chat, and the chat won't allow me to put the whole thing in. It's called Trust Yourself. Trust Yourself. And it goes like this. Coming from my early Jewish upbringing and tradition, I looked out on a world which appeared unloving, unfair, prejudiced, and very fast to pass judgment on anyone who did not meet with their standards. Even looking within my own religion, I noticed during my teenage years that there was disparity between the religion itself, as well as anger towards those outsiders who were outspoken in their feelings towards minorities. It did not appear to me in those early days of my life that there was a lot of love in the world. Yet I was determined to go out into the world and find the love that I believe must be there somewhere. My life took the form of, quote, looking for love in all the wrong places. I went through my midlife crisis, having first acquired all the props of success in my 20s. None of it gave me the happiness I dreamed the world could offer me when I followed its rules. My spiritual rebirth came in 1972, along with divine guidance, quote, love the truth, unquote. That was my divine guidance given to me and remains my purpose right now. Love the truth. Okay, part two. I put this up here. I don't know if it takes it for some reason. Who can, I don't know. If it's, why doesn't it do it? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, no, that's not it. I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't take it. It's not going to take it. So I'll just read it from where it is. I'm really reading it from One Mind Foundation, Dove's story. And this is what it says. It says, I found A Course in Miracles 5 years later, 1977. I was a slow learner, and I counted on my intellectual ability to grok the course by studying the course for many years, trying to connect all the dots on the 1,300 pages. It has only been the last few years I come to the whole new understanding of the purpose and its rewards. Recognizing the voice within me as my higher self, the Holy Spirit that dwells within us all as my internal guide, I've learned trust in a way that the Course speaks about, yet must be experienced by the student to fully appreciate. I am grateful for the recognition of our Father's love for us all, giving us his gifts to us as spirit, who knows us as perfect and is not fooled by the forms of this world that I've given meaning to, yet can now see them through the eyes of spirit and forgiveness. I did have an NDA, a near-death experience, where I left my body in 1980 and calmly looked upon my body. And for many years, I had interpreted that event as seen through the eyes of my ego, where I did not know why I came back, and I had come up with two possible meanings, quote unquote, which seemed rational according to what the world would agree was sane. Recently, the spiritual eye within me gently showed me that the peace and calm that I experienced in those moments, which I looked down upon my body, came from the fact that my higher self gave it no meaning. I was looking upon my dead body lying on the bed, and it gave it no meaning. That my ego thought system would give all the meanings to it. Oh my God, I must have died. Now, my path now is extending that experience by using my underlying mantra for looking at the world I see. Recognizing that, quote, I do not know what anything is for, from workbook lesson 25, and I now ask to have it shown to me. It is this willingness that has provided me with a letting go process. Holy Spirit recently showed me that losing your baggage is a good thing. Today, I use it as my bottom line signature. Laughter now saves lifetimes later. I now see that all the meanings I've ever given to anything in this world, including the thoughts I had when I was young and seeing the world through the eyes of my personality, I saw that I saw what I wanted to see, and I felt it was an attack on me. I took it seriously then. Now I can step back, smile at it, recognizing that it is what I wanted it to mean. It is what I wanted it to mean. What I took seriously then, I can smile and laugh at now. And thank you for asking for my story. And appreciation and gratitude, love, Dove. And that was 10 years ago. And I'm fast forward to now and recognize that even then I didn't know what was going on then. that everything I said then, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but the truth is we never left home. I mean, that's what Byron Katie says. Who would you be without your story? So Dove has a story of his life, and none of it really means anything. Lesson number one. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dove. Actually, I loved it. I feel like a little
Thank
closer to you. Thank you.
I found one from 1980. Oh, go ahead, Myrna.
No, go ahead. Go on. You got plenty of time.
Well, you know,
I like it, though.
in 1980, I worked at the Trade Center, the World Trade Center, and they were doing, they wanted people's opinions on love. And so I wrote this whole thing about, this is the way I looked at love in 1980. And it involves trust. When you allow yourself to open into strong feelings of another person, ideally feelings which can be communicated and returned to you as if a gift, loving your lover with intense passion, sensitivity entwining with each other's needs, cherishing your parents as part of you with tender regard and understanding of their imperfections, to embrace brothers and sisters with maternal, paternal warmth, realizing individuality despite the same blood, respecting your friends with care and concern, and acknowledging that they too had their own lives to live. Poets and philosophers, artists, musicians, all have sought to understand for centuries what compels to create, to change, to be so irrational. Love, it is beauty. Love, it is pain. Fear of the latter seems the enemy of what can be the former. So we set up defense to what we might lose if we risk to hope or to dream. We want the joy of the baby, not the heartache of the adolescent. The wedding with the promises, but not the price of those vows. The 70s of self-sufficient me, to be alone. The 80s of love has to be with giving. The birth of my mother 70 years ago today. The man whom I share my life and time with. The house that shelters and welcomes me home, which is my space when I need it. People I see every day on the same wavelength, pursuing common ground. It is not what you have, but how you appreciate. It is not what you love, but it is how you love it. It will make you laugh and cry and scream at times, but it is worth it. Then I put a dedication to Joanne, who helped me with my work when I was thinking about this.
Very nice.
Thank
So,
you, Brooklyn. I didn't know there was any love in Brooklyn.
but it does involve trust. That's that last. That's the thing. This is the love of from in the world. How to love in the world, I guess. With
Beautiful. I love the love, so it strikes me.
Very nice.
Really beautiful. gosh, it just says so much about you. And I love it. So yeah, Myrna has her hand up, and Rafi has his hand up also. And I have something I'm going to share later too. So Myrna, please go ahead.
It's amazing how everybody has a story. Every poem tells a story of their story. And you learn a little bit more about someone every time they read something about themselves, like the poetry that I'm hearing. Doves in Brooklyn, and really wonderful. And I have a story too, but a little different. This was written in 2000 to my grandchildren, actually. And it's the only thing is it's like 5 minutes. It's a 5-minute poem. I timed it. I don't know. It's long, but I guess I'll.
We have
Yeah.
time. We have
Okay, we have the time.
I mean, goodness gracious, let's hear it.
Okay, it's called A Disney Delight. By the way, I didn't even know I still had it. This was like, as I said, from 2000, and it's called A Disney Delight. When we took our grandchildren to Disney World. We had the best time, didn't we? Robert, Jennifer, Sarah, and me. Mom and Grandpa were part of it too, and we started out not knowing what to pursue. The Magic Kingdom was a whole lot of fun, starting our day with plenty of sun. Sarah was brave and even defied that stupid, silly alien ride. Robert enjoyed Buzz Lightyear a lot, and we spun around like peas in a pot. Jennifer and I loved Peter Pan and the alligator who swallowed Captain Hook's hand. Stopping for lunch was a mad event, and finding a table was heaven sent. The burgers we ate were the best I ever tasted, and we gulped it down, not a drop was wasted. At It's a Small World, we sang along as dolls from each country sang their song. The Haunted Mansion was awfully kooky, and some of those ghosts were really spooky. Robert explained what holograms were, because that's what was used to make spooks occur. Then came the parade, quite a Disney delight. The music and floats were out of sight. Sarah was so cute with the characters that danced, and she jumped with joy like reindeer that pranced. Jennifer watched with eyes full of glee, and I loved every moment with just you three. The Robinson treehouse to me was a wonder, and I pictured it with rain and thunder. Just Robert, Jennifer, Sarah, and me could see the world from the top of that tree. Gliding over the falls was such a great ride because we rode in a log and got wet from inside. The waves on the water came down with a crash, and inside the log, we got soaked from the splash. The day went so fast, and then it was dark, but the lights from the street lamps lit up the park. The very next ride was an airplane treat, and the cool night breeze made it really sweet. The Space Mountain ride was a blast from the past, where you're on a roller coaster that goes real fast. Mom was afraid Sarah would fly away in space, so she held on to her ponytail to keep her in place. It was the last ride for the day, but one of the best, and I think by then we all needed to rest. We set out for the animal kingdom the next day at dawn, but we weren't prepared to get wet in a storm. Grandpa got ponchos that he needed to buy, and they did a good job of keeping us dry. There was so much to do and so much to see, but the first thing we noticed was that carved out old tree. At the very next moment, the rain had stopped, and where the clouds were, the sun had propped. Now we were really on our way, and the Lion King ride made our day. It's Time to Remember the Magic was a terrific song, while Robert, Jennifer, Sarah danced along. The costumes and colors were really amazing, and we couldn't stop clapping, singing, and praising. As we walked away holding hands, we drank bottled water and soda from cans. With Goofy and Pluto, we took a snapshot, and they posed for pictures right on the spot. Next, a safari led us through a swamp, and we watched the animals play and romp. And although the dinosaur ride made us weary, we did it twice because it was scary. The picture I have is living proof that people were so scared they hit the roof. The animal kingdom had a rapids ride with a raft that went over a water slide. Our ponchos got soaked, but we didn't fret because they kept us from getting very wet. The Tarzan show was one of the best with skaters on blades going east and west. Tarzan and Jane swung from trees, or maybe it was more like a flying trapeze. But there was one ride we definitely missed. And next time we go, we'll add it to our list. With a little disappointment and a little strife, I tell you right now, we missed It's a Bug's Life. I heard it was really a super one, and it would have added to all the fun. But don't you worry and never fear. Wouldn't it be nice to go back next year?
Oh, I love it. That's great.
Yeah, you know, it came out of the archives, and I'm glad I still had it. It was so nice to read it to
Beautiful.
Did you read that to your grandchildren, Myrna?
Oh, I gave it, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. They still have copies of it.
I'm
That
looking
was
at the
since
visuals,
2000.
watching their faces light up as you were
Oh.
reading. It was really cool. Thank you.
Oh, that they'll treasure that for always. That's great. Beautiful.
The way you caught it is wonderful.
Yeah, I got really involved in it. You know? It was fun, it really was.
Better than a little video. I mean, I've seen it all in my, we are very, very descriptive. So yeah, and what a sweet experience to have with your grandkids. My goodness, it's something you'll cherish forever.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You caught the holy incense.
Yes. That's right. We're in the holy instant right now, right?
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Myrna, for sharing that with us. That
Thank
was
you.
beautiful. And that didn't take so long. No, it was perfect. All right. So Rafi, let us hear what you have.
Yeah, there's only about 9 or 10 poems I really want to read. Maybe so. But I decided for some reason this one just threw me. And it's called What Am I? What am I? How did I get here? A moment ago I was who? When I say I, what I am I? I'm so confused. Do I think I'm you? In the mirror there are many faces. Which one is me? Other people have opinions who I should be. What me do they see? They can't even agree. When I do something really good, which me wants to crow? What I do I know? Why can't I recall which I or me I'm meant to be? I'm so many people, I don't know which one I see. What am I and who am I? And am I the someone I set out to be? Am I right? Am I wrong? Which I is singing this song? Did I change along the way from 1 into 3? Should I choose to journey back and revisit me? Hey, who are you? I don't know. Who do you want me to be?
Beautiful, beautiful, Rafi.
Very
Yeah.
clever. I love it.
You have a beautiful mind, Ralph. Beautiful mind.
Yeah, I loved it, Rafi. Yes. It tells a story, right? Another story.
Mhm.
Very nice.
When some of the realized masters kept saying that inquiry was one of the strongest ways to get to self-realization, or as you guys call it, atonement, I started to look at it. And when I started to do it, I was okay, I'm not my body, I'm not my mind, what am I? Then all of the rest of the stuff just started to flow and I got out of the way and just let it come out.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's
Thank you
beautiful.
so much. So Glorian has her hand up. And I'm gonna turn it over to you, Glorian. Thank you.
Thank you. I brought a poem of actually on the back of I think it's the 55 Letters of Joe Goldsmith's book that I just thought was beautiful. I didn't bring anything that I wrote, but I'll just read this. And it's The Nightingale of the East. Amidst the flowering plants of a garden in Egypt sat a nightingale of great beauty. Its soaring song filled the oasis with lilting melody. Its song was a carol of love, a message of peace from out of the heart of the infinite. stilling the waves of a world of sense. Knowest thou, O bird, of the peace that fares forth with thy song? Knowest thou of the strife that is stilled by the melody from thy throat? Nay, the nightingale knows naught of the power of its song, and less of the unrest that is quieted by its sound. So should ye be, as the song of God pours forth from you, the willing carrier of the divine message, yet unaware of the power of your being, and still less aware of the troubled hearts ye quiet with your melody of love.
That is lovely. I muted you, Myrna, and I muted because I was hearing a noise and I was trying to figure out where it was coming from. So you can unmute yourselves. I'm sorry. I can't unmute you now. But anyway, that's beautiful. Lori, and of course, those anything, Joel, he heard the voice, just like Helen Schuckman, and her poems are so powerful as well.
Yes.
That same kind of just beautiful understanding or awareness. I have a poem from, and you probably, most of you probably know this poem, but I've felt I really wanted to share it here in this group. And again, I think this really reaches kind of the heart of what the Christ mind and how our connection with the world, the earth, the universe is, the interconnectedness of us, and the question about what we really are. And it's a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, who most of us, I'm sure, are aware was a Tibetan, not Tibetan, Vietnamese Buddhist monk who taught meditation and did a lot of wonderful writing and teaching. And of course, I'm sure you all know who he is, but just in case, maybe not. But the poem was written after he had read a story of a young girl refugee who was on a boat, and pirates overtook the boat, and a pirate raped her, a little, I think she was 12-year-old girl. One of the pirates raped her, and she was so mortified or whatever from it that she jumped overboard and drowned herself. And so this is really such a cheerful thought. I'm sorry to bring about this kind of thinking, but Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this poem because he recognized in that situation and in that experience that he was there too, and that even when we think about it, we're there too. Just when I spoke to you about it, you were there too, and he sees it in our connection, and the truth and reality of what we are, because this world, as A Course in Miracles tells us, is a reflection of our own inner thinking. It's a projection of our own inner experience, what we think we are and what we think is real. And so we are in everything that we see, and we experience everything that is here as ourselves, because it is what we are. So this poem is called Please Call Me by My True Names by Thich Nhat Hanh. Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today, I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second I am arriving, to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I will arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope, The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. I am the mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river, and I am the bird that swoops down to swallow the mayfly. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond, and I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself upon the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks, and I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl refugee on a small boat who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands, and I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people, dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm, it makes the flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast it fills the four oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and my laughter at once. So I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion.
Love
Beautiful,
the poem. Beautiful.
beautiful.
Door of compassion. Wow.
That's wonderful. Mm.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
This is my manual when I graduated the seminary. And we had to put everything together. Go ahead, Gloria. And you didn't.
Oh no, I went. You go.
I did too, but okay. I wrote a sermon on the 7 deadly sins. I think you heard it, Lynn. Lust, greed, pride, envy, wrath, gluttony, sloth. Is this an advertisement for a new movie, a best-selling book, or proof that we are living? I think we can check all of the above. Living on the edge, living with pain. Any of these 7 sins can be a basis for living on the edge or living with pain. These sins have been known to feed off each other. Lust, it thinks it chooses, but actually accepts what is available. Lust is not a sin of the flesh so much as a sin against it. It is a substitute for human love and sexuality, as lust's object of desire is only lust itself. Gluttony, only intent on the sensation of feeding. It does not look at the food it eats, missing the aroma and taste. Greed, it wants and wants, but all objects of a sight become things devalued. All of these obsessions, character defects, sins, whatever its names, seems to come from a hole that cannot be filled. Envy, it provides excuses for the hole. If I had what she had, I would not be empty. Pride, it defends the hole. I am more complete, being better than you. Sloth, it accepts the whole. Oh well. Wrath, it blames everyone and everything else for the whole. Jealousy, depression, anxiety, all can be traced to these 7 names of ego, whose ultimate purpose is to be. It grasps at this, thriving on our emptiness and pain, trying to nourish off our weakness, promising strength as a savior. Its worst fear is for us to find out that it is nothing. To see beyond its illusion and to know that our whole cannot be filled alone, To cultivate what binds us is the answer. In forgiveness, one can learn to love. In respect and appreciation for the nourishment that is accepted with grace, one can face the torture of gluttony. Breathe deeply and value all you have. It is in giving what you value that you actually have more. Accumulating things, taking from others, one can never have enough. Greed in itself cannot be satisfied. Envy and pride, so defensive, so separate. Sloth has armored its hold so heavily it cannot move. There is a thread that binds us all, the spirit, the essence of ourself, capital S. This lack of understanding is our hole, our emptiness. I have found that nothing that screams can empower us. Only in calm, mindful love for ourselves and each other can our link be shared in peace and joy. Remember, we are all equal, even with our own paths. We are complete only with each other.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are complete. Yeah.
Just lovely.
It's my sermon that I wrote.
Are complete. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Brooklyn. That's lovely,
Mhm.
beautiful. Gloria, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just found this. This is something that had come to me in meditation at the end of last year for the new year, but I guess we can start the new year anytime, so I feel guided to read it. And it is, rejoice in eternal love. As we begin this new year, let us recognize that we stand in perfect holiness, oneness. We attain this through our acceptance of the real world, the world of light. We stand at the end of the journey looking back on the dream we made in the gap being this interval of time and space, the dream world we perceive. We recognize we are now in the holy instant, the blessed moment where we experience ourselves as the Spirit of God, one with everything, and accept the real world. The real world perceived recognizes that the dream of sin and guilt is over, and with celestial, spiritual vision, we stand in the midst of the reflection of eternal love. Eternal love is all that is and extends into infinity. There is only infinite love extending and expressing everywhere. I am everywhere, and everywhere is here now. This is the eternal I, the Christ, divinity that is one in truth. As we heal, change our mind, having the willingness to accept only what is real and of God, and extend forgiveness to all projected dreams of limitation, our divinity dawns upon our mind, the mind that is one with God and with everything still perceived. We see that behind all concepts is the light. The defense of specialness, the ego, and the dream idols are the limitation that we place on the experience of the light of who I truly am. As we begin this year anew, let us hold firm to our holiness, oneness, each moment offering us the opportunity to witness to what is real, where we find the freedom and the experience of God's one holy child. Now in grace, we walk amidst the perceived world, held in the embrace of Christ, permeating our being. We realize the divine sparkle we truly are, here only to teach, serve, and bless. Identifying with reality, our identity is shown forth and our salvation has come. One is indeed saved knowing I am spirit, one with all things, one with the universe, with all that is. There is only one light, energy, God. Blessing, sibling, and light on this new year, where we enter the ark of safety, having forgiven our false perception and projected thoughts. We now look with the awareness that all is one and we rest in God. Committed to miracles each day, we stand in stillness, in willingness to receive the Christ that we share. Our perceived body is seen as a vessel for extending love and truth. We understand that any evaluation or thought of duality is not the miraculous. Only the miraculous do we seek and find now. Now, in our healed mind, we are joined together in grace. Now we rejoice in the happy dream, where we allow Christ to be our new body, Christ revealing itself to itself. The dream is over, not through death, but through eternal life, eternal love. Rejoice.
Wow. Did you write that, Gloria?
It came to me.
That's so beautiful.
Thank
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Brianne, I truly want to start my new year off just like that. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Gloria.
Everyone.
Love it.
I
So,
wanted to mention to Gloria too that, you said this was for the start of the new year. Well, the Jewish New Year is coming up in a month. So
Perfect.
very appropriate, it's perfectly timed, really.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
yeah.
you.
very cool. Gosh, thank you. Rafi, please go ahead.
This is autobiographical. I look back over my life, this dream since I was a kid, and realize how incredibly blessed that I am, that I've experienced this as I have experienced it. Every time I turned around, something fabulous happened. And this happened on my 6th birthday. It's called No Ordinary Birthday. On May the 7th, 1945, it was my 6th birthday, one of only a few great spring days the Bronx had to offer. Actually, in New York, there are only a couple of days of spring and a few days of fall, and then it's either too cold or too hot, which, by the way, never mattered to children. And after school that day, I went out to play. Now a maturing six-year-old, and of course it was stickball. One boy hit a foul ball, and the Spalding, of course, all pink and bouncy, landed on the roof of the one-story synagogue. We went in to ask the rabbi if we could get it, and he or whoever it was always smiled and said yes. Then one of us, ages 4 to 8, would climb up the drain pipe to get it. However, that all changed the following Saturday. On Saturday, the holy men weren't allowed to do certain things, turn on and off lights, for instance. They'd call us away from our game and point to the light switches in a bank of switches and told us which ones to turn off or on. For that, we knew we would get a cookie and, wow, a ladder we could use. So we were out there with a sewer, which is a manhole. We pronounce it SUWA, but it's a sewer, as home plate. I was up and 3 men approached us. One was Billy Solano's dad and told us boys they'd like us to go around the neighborhood and collect all the wood we could find. We were used to collecting metal things to help the war effort, so this wasn't unusual. We were to bring the wood to the sewer in the middle of the intersection of Glebe Avenue and Parker Street, which was the corner in front of my house. We dropped a stickball bat, a sword or broom handle, and the Spalding on my porch, and off we went. A half a dozen of us walking around the streets, picking up sticks, pieces of branches, twigs, popsicle sticks, and never asked why. We brought our scraps of wood and treasure back to the men at the intersection. They had lots of wood already as we added our contribution to the pile, and I went home. That's when I found out the war in Europe was over. My 14-year-old sister Gracie had made dinner. Mama was working, and me and my 16-year-old brother, Fred, and Dad sat and ate. They sang Happy Birthday. As the meal wound down, Freddie went to the window and called back, "It's going to start. Let's get out there." We ran out to the front door, and from the porch could see that the wood was piled up on the sewer in the intersection. One of the dads had lit a torch and had a lit torch in his hand. The whole neighborhood was gathered around. The dad with the torch yelled, "Up yours, Hitler!" as he lit the pile that seemed to the 6-year-old to be a mile high. The blaze started to grow. The people roared and clapped, shook hands and hugged. I was picked up and spun around by somebody. The people were now holding hands in a grand circle and dancing around the fire, even the rabbi, as they started singing God Bless America. They danced around, and as they danced around, I looked over and I saw a tall black man in an army uniform standing off to the side, and a tear was rolling down his cheek. I walked over to him and took his hand as the neighborhood started singing, "Happy days are here again." He looked down at me and smiled through more tears. We just stood there watching the celebration. It was the best birthday ever.
Very good.
Oh, wow.
I love
Wonderful.
I love that.
So, yeah, I have to ask you, Rafi. So, did you grow up in the Bronx?
Yeah.
You did. So did I.
Yeah.
On the Grand Concourse on
Oh, it's on the other
167th
side,
Street.
that's the Castle Hill area.
You were in Castle Avenue, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. I went to Taft High School. You went to that. What is it, Walton? No, that
No,
was
I went to Cardinal Hayes for a year. And
yes.
then I got kicked out, and then my family moved to Yonkers, so I went to Yonkers High School. But I
Okay.
did go to Taft for one summer school session,
Oh, you did.
Latin and algebra, and passed algebra.
Did you say Latin?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know people heard of Latin in those days.
No, Latin was a big deal at Catholic school.
Spanish was much easier.
Yeah, well, sure, but you think nuns are going to make things easy? Not back then.
And I went to Taft High School just for one summer. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to
You
see all the girls, because I went to be with Clinton. It was an all
Oh,
boys
you went to
school.
Oh, you went to Clinton?
Clinton? Yeah, that was a school. It was an all boys school,
That's
right?
right.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you grew up in the Bronx too. Where? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Spanish Harlem, but I went to be with Clinton because I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to
Oh.
go to all boys school and not get distracted by girls. So I went there.
You made a mistake.
Holy
I heard.
amazing. You're all
Yeah.
from the same, because Dove went to school with Rafi, didn't you? I mean,
Yonkers High School. Class
yeah,
of
so
58. Go Bulldogs.
that is just
And you
crazy.
got Brooklyn and I
That's
from Brooklyn.
connection.
You got a New York call. No, I'm kidding.
So funny. Yeah, gosh. Am I the only one here from, not from, oh, I bet you Vishnu is not from Brooklyn or from
and-
New York.
And Elizabeth, maybe not.
Maybe Elizabeth, maybe not. So Myrna, please go ahead.
No, that's all I wanted to
great.
say. I should have
Oh.
lowered my hand. I just wanted to make that comment to Rafi and to, and to Rico. Anyway, that about the Bronx, good old Bronx, very nostalgic. That poem, incidentally, I must say, Rafi was very nostalgic. I remember all of that. I remember the stickball that we played on the street and all the different things, tag, and we kept ourselves very busy. We didn't need the internet. We could stay out all afternoon.
Right.
And we
So the
go home
lights
till it
were on
got
and your
dark.
mother yelled out the window to come home.
Yeah, soon it was dark. Right. Then we knew to come home. Right.
Yeah, and you know what, kids, people I see these days, they're like, well, even, people didn't even know where their kids were. They were just roaming around and drinking out of hoses and I mean,
Right, none of this
yeah.
worrying and yeah.
that was great. I think that was a great upbringing, great life.
It was heaven. It was heaven.
It was
It
heaven.
was.
That's right. That's right. Dove, we have about 5 more minutes, so please go ahead, Dove.
You're muted.
You are muted.
I have two short ones, so I won't even take more than a minute. But I also want to preface it. My parents lived in Grand Concourse in the Bronx before they moved to Yonkers, where, of course, I met Rafi at Yonkers High School, Bulldog Spirit. And I was thinking of Bulldog Spirit when I read my bio, because when I said I went out into the world determined to find love, that's the Bulldog Spirit. Go find whatever it is you're looking for. That's Bulldog Spirit. Okay, here's my two shorties. One was actually posted by Karen Parenti this morning, and it comes from Across the Miracles, and it's only a one-liner, and this is what it says. You are not thinking with, if you are not thinking with God, you're not thinking at all. Ooh, so true. If you're not thinking with God, you're not thinking at all. And my other shorty, I found on TikTok. It says, if you want to love everyone, judge no one. That's it.
That's it. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dove. Wow, what a great evening this has been. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share before we close out? This is
Thought you did.
Oh, well, okay, so I will. So I do have a couple minutes. So this is because I had a dream. And my life has been led by dreams. Dreams always told me what to do, where to go, who to marry. What I mean, I've had dreams you cannot believe how specific they've been about things. But this was a dream that I had about Sigmund Freud and Albert Einstein. And they came to me in a dream and they explained to me what time and space are. And I wrote this poem. I got up in the night, I went in the bathroom and I wrote this poem. After I did write this poem, I found it in A Course in Miracles, and I'll find where that is, but where Jesus explains it to us as well. But the poem is called Quantum Psychosis, because it's Sigmund Freud and Albert Einstein. And it goes, time and space are the same thing. Each one defines the other. Space makes time through distance, and time divides its brother. The purpose we have given both to separate God and fear. When God tires of this silly game, they both will disappear. It's time we learned our lessons and learn these lessons well. The game we play with time and space turns heaven into hell. Though hell is fun for just a while, its choices and its glitter make God seem small or not at all, and all that's sweet seems bitter. Freud shone the light on what's within. Einstein defined the rest. Twin brothers in discovery described our prison funhouse best. Now that I see through time and space, invented by my mind, dreamed, solid trap, just smoke and mirrors, can't all be left behind. I choose this moment to rescind the power I projected, return to love, restore to one, space, time, my mind corrected.
I'm so glad you did that one. Wow.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then later I read it in the course where Jesus says, yeah, space describes distance, and time is the thing that breaks it up into parts. And so the whole thing of time and space is we just took reality and split it apart into those two dimensions. And wow.
Oh,
Sounds right.
Wonderful.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
thanks, you guys. I love you all.
Mwah.
Everyone,
Bless.
beautiful night. Thank you.
See you on Thursday. Yeah. All righty.